Hello, I'm Joy Gower. 47 years ago, a long, long time ago, I had a panic attack. I had no idea what it was. I don't even think the medical profession termed it as a panic attack at that time. And it all started off when I saw somebody have a heart attack in the road. And it reminded me that that's unfortunately how my father had died when I was 17. And although I hadn't been there when he died, it was in my imagination, and I think I had post-traumatic stress disorder. So I saw this happen and I went into shock and got very upset. And then later that night, I had a real panic attack. So for those of you that have been unfortunate enough to suffer from something like that, your heart is pounding like mad, you're sweating, you feel as if you're going to die. It's a horrible feeling. And later, when that has subsided, you just feel drained. And it's probably because you had a massive adrenaline rush. Now at that time, 47 years ago, people didn't think about therapy or seeing anybody. They went to their doctor, which is exactly what I did, to be told to pull my socks up. I was 24 years old and to get on with life. Really bad advice at that time. Some months later I went to see another doctor who was much older, and he understood. He called it acute anxiety and said, you'll get over it at some point. I have to say that the first GP said, well, I can give you some medication, and I took it from him, but I thought, I don't know what this is. And I had said to him, it's not addictive, is it? It was very addictive. Didn't take it. I went into a library at that time and looked it up under a medical dictionary, and it was a really addictive drug, so I threw them away. And for the next 5 or 6 years, just tried to find a way of getting over this. It took a long, long time to not only understand it, but to get myself in the right place where I felt much calmer. Of course, we've heard so much over the last couple of years, and we're going to hear it for the next few years as well, about what's happened over these years that's caused us some anxiety. Of course, we've got our wonderful government to thank for that, to frighten us, and the more that we're frightened, the more it settles into our unconscious awareness, and we just become frightened all the time, and we live with that fear. And that's why nowadays people are presenting with anxieties about all kinds of different things. I'm not saying anxiety didn't happen before the pandemic, it certainly did happen then, but now I'm seeing people who are saying, I'm really fearful of this, all kinds of horrible fears, doom and gloom, and this is what's happened really. Instead of treating us as sensible adults and saying, look, we've got this and we can sort it out with your help, it was rule after rule after rule. So the thing about it now is we want solutions, and the kind of therapy that you're looking for needs to offer unconscious solutions, because what's happened now is that there is a program that is in your mind that is built on fear. So every time you read something or see something that could produce that fear, it produces the anxiety again. So talking about it all the time just can reinforce it. Look for solutions, and hopefully not drug solutions, because it just masks it, and it might help for a little while, and there's nothing wrong with having a short course of drug treatment prescribed from your doctor, but, as if you can see one of course, but the fact is you start on that routine and you may end up taking it for years. So look for solutions. Look for what's caused you to feel that way in the beginning, and then look for solutions. Now whether that's finding somebody, the right therapist for you, don't pick the first person, look for recommendations, listen to what other people say, and then phone them yourself. Email's great, we can have a conversation by email, but there's nothing like actually talking to somebody, listening to their voice, and listening if they can offer you solutions. If they're offering you talking therapy, it may or may not help, because you need the solutions to reprogram your mind so that you're thinking in a different way. So that's something about anxiety that we're always going to face, but it's what to do with it rather than just live with it and cope with it. We can find the solutions. There's lots of things that we can do. Deep breathing, listening to hypnotic CDs, going to find a therapist, walking along a beach, getting rid of those anxious thoughts, having your pets and letting them make you feel calmer, because when you feel calm, you're producing really good chemicals from your brain. When you're feeling really bad and anxious, you're producing those horrible chemicals that make you feel so ill. So I hope you've enjoyed, well, can you say enjoyed watching about anxiety, but it might give you some idea of what to do if you are feeling very anxious. If you've never been anxious before this last 2 years, and there are a lot of people who would say that, they felt fine before, then seek out some therapy. Don't let this government frighten you anymore. Find out the solutions that you can have and get on with life.